Many thanks for taking time out of what must be a really busy schedule for you at the moment to talk to myself and Birmingham Law Society. Before we move on to the interview, I'd like to touch upon your visit to the Council of Birmingham Law Society in July of this year. What are your thoughts on the visit?
I had a really enjoyable and interesting time. One of the problems I've had in this job up to now is that I've managed to spend quite a lot of time talking to the formal institutions of the profession, the Law Society and indeed the Bar Council, Bar Standards Board, the Solicitors Regulation Authority and so on and so forth. I actually get much less time than I'd like talking to lawyers. And I think the great thing about the Birmingham Law Society visit was that I got to spend some quality time and to have some interesting conversations with people who are actually doing the job. In the end, I'm interested not so much in what the views of the representatives of the profession are, I'm interested in the views of real professionals.
Perhaps we could start by asking, who is Adam Sampson and what does he bring to the role of Chief Legal Ombudsman?
The Act only says one thing about the Chief Ombudsman, and that is a negative, that the Chief Ombudsman cannot be a lawyer. So I effortlessly fulfil that qualification. I have no legal qualification at all. But I would hope there are some positives I can bring as well. While I'm not a lawyer, I've worked alongside the legal profession for many, many years. I started out in my professional career as a probation officer. My very first job once I left university was sitting in Ealing Magistrates Court, taking a note of proceedings and dealing in a very small way with the administration of justice. From there I've worked in different guises, things like prisoners' rights, human rights, in work to do with drug addicts, but particularly most recently my previous job was running the charity Shelter, which everybody knows as a campaigning charity. I think is less well known, actually is the country's largest housing law legal aid franchise. It employs something like 35 solicitors and 600 staff who in a law firm would be deemed as paralegals. So from that point of view, I have a wealth of experience about how the legal system operates, and in particular I've spent many years at the interface between lawyers and their clients. So there's some practical experience of the realities of the legal system that I can bring together with obviously some administrative and decision-making experience.
What is the rationale behind having a Chief Legal Ombudsman who is not a lawyer?
That was set by the Act itself, and the Act was based on the Clementi report. Now, Sir David Clementi, in his analysis of the regulation and complaints handling of the legal profession, pointed out that it was fundamentally going to damage trust in the integrity of complaints handling about lawyers if the people who were there to arbitrate, as it were, between the complainant and the lawyer were themselves lawyers, and the entity was owned by the legal profession. So in the end, that's the view that Parliament endorsed, that the new organisation had to be clearly a lay organisation, not merely an organisation that exists outside the direct control of the Law Society and the profession, but also an organisation with a chair and a chief ombudsman who are lay individuals.
And can I ask you, why now for the new legal ombudsman service? Given the changes which are facing our profession over the next 12 months, why now for this new service?
The timing, yes, you're right, on one level is not helpful because there's a lot of other changes that lawyers are having to adjust to. On the other hand, I think the timing is also very helpful. In the new world in which we're moving into, with potentially some very commercial businesses who are interested in coming in to provide legal services, it's important that lawyers get a flow of good quality information back about how they retain the loyalty of their client base, of their customers. It will be one of the things which will be very important to the legal profession if they're going to be competing for legal business, that they understand what they must do to retain the loyalty of their clients, and if there are things that they're doing which are upsetting their clients, they need to know about it. And it's not just the resolution of individual complaints that we can provide. We can also provide a flow of really good quality information back to the profession about the things that are commonly going wrong, the things that their clients think and feel.
In terms of the new Ombudsman service setting up in Birmingham, why was Birmingham selected as the city?
Well, that to a degree was set for me. When ministers passed the legislation, there was a ministerial instruction that the new organisation had to be based in the West Midlands. Now that was partly because there is the existing legal complaints service in Leamington Spa, and I think there was a hope that many of the people who will be being made redundant in Leamington Spa may, if they're suitable, form the backbone of the workforce for the new organisation. But there was also a general move of government bodies out of London. And for me, I was really interested in siting the office in a vibrant urban environment with a potential workforce of skilled and motivated people. And Birmingham provides all of that. It's a fantastic location, both in terms of its geographical location, the availability of staff, the footprint of the building, but also a great place to be.
The new legal ombudsman service is going to cover more than just solicitors. Can you explain exactly who is covered? Yes,
one of the changes of the Act is that the separate complaints handling systems for the various parts of the law profession has all been swept away, and there's now a combined complaints handling arrangement. So I can take complaints about solicitors, but also about barristers, about legal executives, about licensed conveyancers, about patent attorneys, against notaries. There's a wide range of individuals that I can consider complaints against, and I will consider them in the same way. What's also interesting is I can combine complaints. So if a complaint is raised to me about a solicitor, but when I look at it, it looks like the person I should really be interested in is the behaviour of the barrister, I can join the barrister to that complaint and vice versa.